Hey, it's Edie.
Annalie,
Robin, and Alta.
As a group, we decided to analyze and apply media theories to the 2010 release of the movie Easy A. The three media theories that we chose to apply include the McLuhan theory, postmodernism, and reception audience theory. We felt that these three theories fit with the message that was being projected as well as the medium it was created on. Enjoy.
Easy A follows high school student Olive Pendergast as she goes through the stages of growing up. Olive lived a pretty normal life and she was well respected around school. The rumor that spun Olive's life upside started when she lied to her best friend about losing her virginity to a college guy. News of Olive's sexual endeavor quickly spread at the hands of her gossipy best friend. Olive embraces the rumor and confirms that it's true, even though it isn't. She's inspired by the Scarlet Letter and starts wearing more revealing clothing with red A's stitched to them, like the main character in the Scarlet Letter was forced to. Then, one of her friends is being tormented for being gay, so she asks her to pretend to sleep with him so that people would leave him alone. She agrees to this, and as soon as the word gets out, people start treating her like she's easy. Things escalate quickly from there, with many other guys asking her to pretend to have sex with them, and some even paid her to lie. The rumors are getting out of hand, and Olive needs to stop them before the school's religious fanatic gets her expelled. In the end, Olive comes out with the truth and gets the guy she's been pining over. But why did everyone at her school care so much anyway? Why did Olive's supposed sleeping around matter to them?
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah. The McLuhan theory. The McLuhan theory states that the medium in which a message is portrayed is more important than the message being portrayed. This stems from the idea that the ability to project and send a message is a much stronger statement than anything else. This applies to Easy A because we feel that it is more important to project a message through film than the message that Easy A is trying to project. They are able to reach a wide audience through the film. They are able to portray an opinion and a message, and people can see it and form different opinions on it.
Postmodernism. Postmodernism is taking on the late 20th century ideology which sways away from modernist beliefs. This includes religious beliefs, technological advancements, and sexuality or race-based separation. Basically, modernism takes on more old-fashioned beliefs, and postmodernism is the way that a majority of people are currently. Olive's family is very postmodern, and no questions when Olive starts dressing more provocatively. Most parents would express some concern or even tell her to dress more conservatively, but Olive's parents just let her do what she wants. They also adopted a black son, and modernists do not often support multiculturalism. Modernism in the movie is displayed through the religious group. They have more old-fashioned ideologies such as dressing modestly and abstaining from sex. They look down on Olive for dressing in revealing ways and for sleeping around. This group are the main contributors in Olive's harassment.
So with reception audience theory, there are three different types of responses that can be expected. There's the oppositional response, which is they completely disagree with the message altogether and they don't think that it was realistic. There's the associated response, which is when they understand the message but they can't relate or don't really want any part in it. They kind of have the every man for themselves mentality. And there's the dominant response, which agrees with the message and wants to do something to help make a change in society. So not everyone who watches the movie will have the same opinion on it. The Christians were opposed to the way that Olive decided to dress and the way that she went about putting her sexuality out there. The Christians have their own way of living their lives, and they have their own rules to follow under their religion. So having fake sex for money doesn't necessarily follow these rules. They completely disagreed with the overall message of the movie, and in a way they were the villains of the story. Olive's best friend, Rhiannon, was also opposed to the way that Olive has gone about it. Another character, Mr. Griffith, the school teacher, was a negotiated opinion because he wasn't necessarily against what Olive was doing, but he also didn't really agree with it. He just kind of let her do her own thing. Thought that the way she was going about things was probably not the best way to handle them, but he recognized the fact that she wanted to grow up and learn from what she was doing, and she was handling the rumors and acting towards people who hurt her appropriately.
The cultural bias is based on the fact that we live in a culture that is much more accepting and different than other ones around the world. The religious bias includes the fact that we have rules, certain rules we must follow to be in certain religions and to be considered a good religious person. The peer bias is probably the biggest one, as the people around us have the biggest influence on us and contribute most to what we do, say, wear, and even the way we talk. The parental bias is another big one, as our parents have most influence over us until we are at least 18. And the social bias means that we do things in order to impact our social standing. If we think that something's going to help us in our social standing and make us more popular, then it is more likely that we will do it and accept it for what it is than if it was to downgrade us to a lower part of society.
I think that Olive was very intelligent with the way that she handled this, and I find it respectful that she put herself in a situation that most girls would not be comfortable doing, and she flaunted how everyone else perceived her instead of disagreeing, and she put it herself in a way that I thought was positive, and I know that many other people as well as myself also enjoyed the way she handled it.
Annalie, I personally agree with what Olive did, and I think that I have a massive amount of respect that the way she dealt with it. I think that she made a huge statement by not only what she was wearing, but the mentality that she carried throughout the movie. So personally, I think that not only was it a good movie, but it was also a very good message that they were trying to project.
Robin took on the negotiated response. She agrees with both Olive's actions and the opposing opinion. She kind of took on the mentality that Olive could do whatever she wanted, and it didn't really affect Robin in any way. She didn't necessarily feel moved or motivated at all by what Olive was doing, but she wasn't against what she was doing. And I, Alta, think that Olive is brave for standing up for herself and putting herself out there in a way that would help change society. And I feel a sense of pride for Olive's actions and for what she did to kind of change the whole way that her school was based on thinking that what she was doing was not okay.
Our thoughts and questions.
We felt that the dominant and the negotiated response was what we would place ourselves in, because although we did agree with what Olive was doing, we also respected the kind of every man for themselves and you do you mentality.
We think that Olive made strong advancements against slut-shaming within her school, because by the end of the movie, everyone was kind of just accepting of everybody else, and there was a lot more of a positive attitude within her school.
Which category would you put yourself in for the reception audience theory, negotiative, dominant, or oppositional?
Do you think that males have the same views and opinions compared to ours as females? Within the movie, there was multiple different opinions that were expressed. For example, the boys and the males within the movie had a much more positive and curious opinion to Olive's change in personality and clothing, whereas the females had a completely opposite response.
Would you consider your life to be more modern or postmodern?
Do you agree with the McLuhan's theory about the movie being a message, or whatever the movie is speaking of being the message?